Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your December forecast. I hope that everybody's doing well. It's good to see you. Apollo's right behind us, holding some space, ready to receive the messages that come forth. So let's get started here. Just a quick, refresher for those of you that are brand new. This can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus, and I start everything off with channeled messages. Today, I was receiving a lot of information through meditation, and as I was meditating on your sign, this is what I saw. I kept focusing on a mountain, and I felt this energy of fatigue. And for many of you, this could just be like end of year fatigue. There could be some impatience to get some things done in your life. But then I thought of a beautiful card in the Light Seers deck that is a reminder not to give up. So in the Light Seers deck, the 10 of Wands is someone on the sort of easy side of the mountain. They've already done the work, they've already climbed the mountain, and they've learned to delegate or partner up with somebody. Compare this, if you will, to the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, and you'll see in the traditional card, someone's really feeling overwhelmed. And sometimes it's because we get used to doing more than we need to in a relationship, in a job, in life. And this interpretation is saying there might be a smarter way, and this is going to help you finish what you started, because this is very much a month during which I feel like you can check off a lot of items. There may be some of you that are deciding to travel. Maybe you're moving to a place where mountains are around you, but I took the mountain as a metaphor not to give up, and also as a symbol of just how far you've come. And as someone who enjoys hiking, one thing that I try to do while hiking is to focus on that. I look over my shoulder, look at how far I've come. I try not to focus on how much of the hike is left, because that can sometimes get into your headspace. Focus on progress. Basically get your vision focused on also what the goal or destination should be, but don't measure how much more is yet to be done, because sometimes, again, that can kind of feel overwhelming. The other thing that I got in dreams last night was this, I kept hearing a starting whistle, or it was a bell or a whistle. And the previous sign, it was all about waking up. For you, it's about beginning. So finish one thing, and then I feel like almost like right after that, there's going to be something better, and also that requires quick action. And if you've been in a little bit of a lull, waiting for a job or a relationship, or just things have been predictable, get ready for things to get exciting. And I don't necessarily think it's chaotic or unpredictable sort of stuff. It just feels like the pace is going to pick up. So as we take a look at the cards here in just a moment, I really want to pay attention to pacing. What can you focus on? What should you focus on? And then we'll also look at if there is anything that feels overwhelming or exhausting, and maybe I can help you release that as well. Let's check on Apollo again before I get into the main spread. Maybe give him a pat on the head, and then we'll get started. All right, let's begin. Let me get everything set up here. So I always like to set intentions. I chose a magical deck for you today, by the way. So as I'm getting everything set up, if you wouldn't mind, close your eyes for a moment. And whatever you might be bringing into this reading, whether it's stress or questions or anxiety or confusion, let it go. We're gonna get to the bottom of all of that. But first things first, let's bring in some clarity for ourselves here. Imagine that you are watching the sun rise, and this new day gives you new clarity, new inspiration, makes you feel excited about what's possible. As the sun shines directly onto your heart chakra, feel that warmth and radiance move through your body, and imagine that you draw a circle around yourself, creating a safe space. In this safe space, let's call in your guides, angels, spirit, ascended masters rather, and spirit itself. And whatever messages need to come through, let's let it happen. Let's see what you need to focus on. All right, let me give the cards a shuffle, and I'm going to be quiet for a moment. We have two cards there. All right, let's get started with your Catalyst card. You have a really interesting card here. The experiencing message is actually part of a Three of Wands, a radically redesigned Three of Wands. Catalyst energy helps you prepare for change and movement, sometimes even spark that change and movement. So if we look at this really close up, the person's actually hugging a tree. This is fire, but it's a grounded message. In order to be able to recognize a synchronicity and also to appreciate an opportunity, sometimes you just have to be very present and think, I'm doing this, I did this, and celebrate that little success. So experiencing the success that you're calling in, so important. The traditional Three of Wands looks like this, and it's much more passive. So all of those ships on the horizon basically are opportunities coming to fruition. The person, though, is just sitting there waiting for them. And so that's one thing that always kind of like bothers me a little bit about the traditional illustration. It always feels like you could go and meet it halfway. But know this, the other way that we can interpret this is that this person is waiting for good news, like today could be the day. So they're also manifesting positivity. Interestingly enough, if we just take a quick glance at the table, opportunity is knocking here in the environment. So we have an Ace of Pentacles right there in your environment position. We also have new community, new friendship, new love coming in for some of you with the Ten of Cups. There's a lot of recalibrating cards throughout the spread, lots of fives, which represent some inner work, but you end in a very powerful position here with the Emperor. So overall, the spread is manageable. Let's take it card by card and see what's coming through, Aquarius. At the center of the spread, we have the Five of Cups, and this basically comes on the heels of a perceived disappointment or setback. Oftentimes, this happens when something doesn't serve our highest good and we're being kind of nudged to go in another direction. The challenge in Five of Cups is not to focus on what couldn't or didn't happen, but rather to focus on anything that really is presenting itself as an opportunity. Let's look at the traditional card because it's a little bit clearer and easier to understand. So you'll see the three cups that are spilled over. You see the two behind this figure, and basically that could be friendship, could be support, could be a couple of other things that you haven't explored. At the core of this card is the energy of mourning or dealing with, like I said, a perceived loss. So that's the first challenge, is recalibrating and seeing if there is a silver lining. And if there is a silver lining, what you're going to do to basically embrace what you can control. I'm elated that we actually have a silver lining card right on top of it in the form of the Ten of Cups. This is so good. First of all, for those of you that are already in a relationship, this could be a deepening of that relationship, a decision to take it to the next level, or just, committing to one another again, saying, I'm really glad that you're here, etc. If you're looking for love, this is one of the major attractor cards, saying that you're pulling in somebody who is also looking for that same level of commitment. You have the ability right now also to find new groups of people. The key to the success is this little unicorn that's in the reflection. If I turn it upside down, you can see it marching here. So you really want to connect with your inner star power, being authentic, being unique, and knowing that there are people out there that not only celebrate that, but want that, okay? Professionally, this is a great teamwork card, and it's something that at every level will serve you well. So even if you're going through some difficult things, the interesting thing is people may not even perceive that. This feels like it could almost be beneath the surface. So definitely reach out and ask for support if you need it. But know this, if good opportunity, we already saw it in the form of the Ace of Pentacles in the environment, but if opportunity in love or friendship comes knocking, this is also the universe saying, it's your turn, it's your time, it's about time. Because many of you have been doing the grounding work that we saw there. And it's just a matter now of recognizing it when it comes, okay? I'm really loving the energy that we have in the deep and recent past. It looks like many of you have worked hard to find your voice. In this particular deck, the unicorn deck here, we have her as a sorceress. So I actually don't mind it. I don't love the illustration here, but I think that words are magic, and your voice can do amazing things to shape your world. Why don't we look at a better illustration in the Lightseer's deck, where she's taking her time, she's choosing her moment, and she's also realizing the power of the words. That's where the magic is. This is a better illustration. And You can see even a little bit of that in the Rider-Waite-Smith one, where she's deciding when and if to use the tool. It can be something that inspires, it can be something that cuts through things. And this is a moment to really decide how and when to use your voice. I think many of you have figured out what that voice is. If you haven't, the retrograde period that basically comprises the first part of the month is a chance for you to continue to work on that, to feel comfortable with expressing your opinion, expressing your emotions, and knowing that you deserve a seat at the table. So if you've already accomplished that, perfect. If not, there's a little bit of homework at the beginning of the month. But the next card is amazing here. We have Queen of Cups coming through. She's a natural nurturer, as you can see here, taking care of the cat. Queen of Cups is creative. She is psychic. She is also very, very good at expressing herself. So when I say expressing, it's also like the tone. So there are different ways to say thank you. You can say something with, like, if you pause and say, thank you so much, like that made my day, versus thanks, which is kind of dismissive and kind of just like not really there. So taking a moment to infuse the words with actual meaning and empathy can be the way that you will be able to move mountains this month. So these are just like the raw words, and this is the magic. This is you adding in that extra bit of empathy, creativity, and compassion. Before moving on, I want to remind you of the Five of Cups, since we're dealing again with another Cups card here. If we look at the Lightseer's deck, she's starting to fill the cup back up. She's starting to feel this sense of reliance on herself, and that she is complete without, accomplishing whatever she initially set out to do or getting the validation that she needed. It's like, you know what, I'm happy, I'm strong, and I see the silver lining, I see the blessing, and I am enough. She's enough. She's enough for herself. So I really feel like that is one last potential retrograde thing that might be coming through at the beginning of the month to work on, is feeling complete and fulfilled within yourself. And if there's anything that you need to do in order to help foster that, that's great. Suffice it to say, having these two queens in the spread are amazing because they're two of the strongest leadership cards that you can pull. And it's just a matter of combining the very straightforward communication with the empathy of this card, and then great things can start to happen. So in the crowning position here, we have the Four of Pentacles. For many of you, you may be holding on to something longer than you need to. We can see this person bringing that pentacle towards their heart space. It can basically represent knowing that something or someone isn't enough, but having difficulty in releasing it, because the experience becomes very much akin to like a blanket that you wrap around yourself. It's something you become used to, the devil you know. I like to remind people that the devil you know is still a devil, meaning that it's limiting and it's not enough. Thankfully, you got this card in the reverse state, and the challenge and opportunity is to let someone or something go. And it's going to be different for each of you. I think it's connected, however, to what we see here, Five of Cups and Five of Swords. For sure, this can be someone who's not a person of their word, and they've disappointed you time and again. Or it can be a place where you've been working and putting a lot of time and energy, but they just are not honest with you or forthright, and you are calling in so much higher frequency, better relationship energy here that this needs to sort of leave so that you can continue this journey towards the Emperor. So knowing what to let go and when to let go of it is going to be very important. Two more things before we move on. When it comes to compensation, you deserve more in some areas of your life. It could be work. This could also be when we're looking at how much energy you're putting into a relationship. The other person may take more than they give, or they just have a hard time sharing or being vulnerable. This can be the other party where they're just holding back. If you're holding back, it's going to be difficult to go deeper in a relationship. So lead by example, and if it's not reciprocated, it's okay to move on, folks. All right, we have two cards here, and they're tricky. So a Knight of Cups is very, very captivating, but the Five of Swords energy means that it's kind of like smoke and mirrors. So Five of Swords, typically someone who just doesn't communicate well. Sometimes they don't listen. Sometimes they criticize. oftentimes they lack accountability for their own part in this. Invariably, it leaves you feeling like this guy that's holding his head thinking, this again? It's a cycle. There's a reason some of these things are coming through. It can also be the little crow here, which is, sort of saying things into your head. This can be your own voice where you're saying, I'm not good enough. This won't happen. I'll never get X, Y, or Z. And so we want to shut down that if it's you. But if it's external and it's like a parent, boss, or friend, and they're constantly criticizing, enough is enough. If it's you trying to give feedback and someone just talks over you, again, it's this is the Four of Pentacles. This is the person or the energy to release. Now let's focus on the good stuff here. Knight of Cups. This can actually represent you. And what we're looking at is, again, a sort of confidence issue, especially since the next card is all about confidence, the Five of Pentacles. So Five of Swords is the voice that's basically articulating the fear of the Five of Pentacles. So what you want to do is think to yourself, you know what, I have a lot to offer. And focusing on self-love is a great way to bring this about. I appreciate this. I've worked hard. I love and respect myself enough to not listen to that. Aquarius, in order to help you get through some of this, we have to talk about this because the Five of Pentacles represents you. It's very interesting that the last unicorn deck chose to put the big clock behind her because, interestingly enough, a lot of the energy, the wounds, the sort of challenges, they're from the past. And if we look at the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, we can see a child and a parental figure. Child is wounded. The parental figure is also dealing with their own wounds. Neither of them are going to the shelter behind them. If we look at a reinterpreted version in the Lightseers deck, this is my favorite. You have the key. You've always had the key. You wish that the other person could have picked it up and helped you, but by not doing that, they showed you that you had the strength. There is no timeline for you to have to fix this. It's always been there. There's this beautiful song by Everything But the Girl, and Ben Watts is one of the two singers in the group. The song is called 25th December, and he's talking, at the very end, he just keeps repeating this line about wanting to pick up a key that was too big for his hands, and there's a voice saying, come on now, it was always there, it's always been at your feet. And it almost makes me weepy because it is so clear that in this moment, you have everything you need to succeed, Aquarius. You have the key. It's right there. It's right there. And because someone in the past made you feel like you couldn't open the door, you're hesitating now. You don't have to hesitate anymore. And again, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I am a medium, and so I'll tap into occasionally one little card can do it for me. I think the big takeaway here is there's so much that you have to offer. Don't let one person's lack of preparedness or support stop you from achieving. In fact, let it embolden you to embrace what we saw in the environment here, which was an Ace of Pentacles. Spirit sees you. Spirit is opening up a new path here. Aces are potential. Now, in order for the ace to blossom, you have to feed it. You have to nurture it. You have to believe in it. Imagine this as a gigantic, seed. You have to put the seed in the ground, water it, and wait. If it's an egg, you think of a bird, it has to sit on it, incubate it, fertilize it, all of that. So you have something right within reach that could be very, very fruitful. We now have seen that it could be just self-confidence or a lack of support or a lack of resources, but we're going to move past that. And this is a moment for you to reach out for what it is that you want. And where there's a will, there's a way. And I think that might even be the title for you, Aquarius, this month, because this path is unfolding and you have to find a way. You're going to find your way this month, okay? By the way, this can be new love, a new job, an idea, an opportunity that's presented to you. No matter how you look at it, it's an open door. You don't even need to unlock it, the door is open. Seven of Cups can help you, and it can also kind of like slow you down a little bit. Seven of Cups is basically imagination. It's dreaming. And sometimes it can get us to the point of like, oh my gosh, it's like the math meme one. I'll pull it up here, but we can get so lost in, well, what about this? What about that one? That we miss the window of opportunity. Keep it simple this month. Yes, explore options. Yes, listen to your intuition. But when it comes to getting in your own way and worrying about every possible scenario, don't do it. Part of being intuitive is just going with the flow and trusting that this is the right moment and you're the right person. After all, the outcome is the emperor. And the emperor comes after the creative energy of the empress and the power of the magician and the high priestess. So you've done the work. It's just a matter of owning it. And the emperor's pretty good at that. So if we can get you into the confidence of this card, then things can start to move in the right direction for you. I think that this month offers a chance to reclaim power, to really feel like you are deserving of the doors that are opening up, and then taking more of a sort of leadership role. If you're ready, it's there for you, okay? I think it's time to expand the forecast now, so let's do it. We're going to take a deeper dive into health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with your health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. And we have a really interesting card coming through here. So scavenge, or the scavenger here. At its best, this is a resourceful card. And so this could be you finding value in things that others cannot or will not. And I do like that. So if you are at a point where you're trying to kind of save resources, save time, you can do it. But one thing that this card is also inviting you to do is not continue to engage with people, places, and environments that force you to go into this energy. And we're not even looking at wealth, but it's touching health, so we have to talk about this a little bit. I think it's important to find places where you can receive more assistance, receive more resources, rather than be spread too thin. You may be working for a job where they just don't give you the benefits or support that you really rightly deserve. You may also be at a place where you're working so much that it makes you sick, because the Five of Pentacles can be a card of sickness. So work-life balance is coming through right off the bat. And I think one of the things that's hard, it gets easier the older you get, but it's just to speak up and say, I need help, I need more. It could just be more assistance so that I'm not so tired. It could be more money because I've worked as long or longer than this person who came in at a higher rate, and I have just as much experience or education. So if you're fighting that kind of battle, this is the time to definitely engage with the Emperor energy within, the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Cups. So we have confidence, communication, compassion, but the Emperor is going to get what they want and get what they need. And in your case, I feel like it's a little bit more in the way of resources that can help. But there could also be some things around you that you haven't explored yet. So it could be in the form of financial aid or other resources, and it's just a matter of reaching out. So I do like the resourceful or scrappy kind of energy with the scavenge card, but we want you to not have to do that anymore. And I do think that part of this energy is feeling like it's enough to just have enough. In reality, we want you to have a little bit more than enough so that you can save for a rainy day, so that you can invest in new opportunities like what we see here in the environment. All right, as we take a look at these cards, standard disclaimer applies. I'm a medium and a tarot reader. I'm going to look at energy and where it might be affecting health. If you're dealing with any of this stuff in your body, please work with a professional. I'm drawn immediately to this card. So the Four of Pentacles is stress. Look at how the person's holding on to things. Look at where they're holding on to it. So a lot of times it can be tightness in the shoulder or neck. Sometimes when you get stressed out, or if you have a panic attack, there's difficulty in breathing. That's what I'm seeing here, is stress manifesting around the heart and throat chakras. And so obviously stress management is key. Therapy, exercise, art, and also just eliminating the source of the stress as well. That's the first thing that I'm picking up on. This can create this. So this is oftentimes cold, flu, or sickness. Not typically something to worry too much about, but it takes you out of your ability to be happy and to be fruitful when it comes to resources and opportunities. So make sure that you're not pushing yourself to the limits of exhaustion. This also has to do with pre-existing injuries. If you've had a sprain, an ankle, or a surgery in your foot or your leg, this is a time to be gentle, especially for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere as we enter the winter months. You want to be very careful not to re-injure that part of your body, okay? Slow down, watch where you're walking, put the phone in your pocket, don't multitask. That will help. This is more of a psychological card. Again, I can't, it won't, I'll never, that kind of dialogue that basically closes this door of opportunity before it even has a chance to open. So we want to work on mental health, we want to work on stress reduction and stress management, and we want to focus on existing injuries and not exacerbating them. They're coming through on a diagonal here. I want to go back to the Five of Cups here, which can also be really dealing with grief that might have been pushed underneath the surface. So I mentioned earlier opportunities that may not have happened. As I look at the lens of health, it's a little different. If you just lost someone that you loved, or if you've gone through a divorce, or if there's been a different sort of loss in your life where it's a little bit more substantial, it can take a minute or two. And for those of us that have been through grief, you know that it's different for each experience. Grieving a parent, grieving a partner, grieving a pet or a child, completely different experiences. Give yourself the time, the space, and most importantly, the support that you need. And this month, 10 of Cups is that shining card, the basically silver lining right on top of the Five of Cups. Reach out to the resources, they'll help you. The only other thing that's coming through, interestingly enough, is this, which can be distraction. I'll try to pull the traditional one while we're talking, but what happens sometimes with Seven of Cups, you could be confused because someone hasn't given you the instructions you need. We'll talk more about that when we get into like business and finance, but confusion can also come through when you're tired, when you're overworked. There could also be things like lack of sleep that's just making it difficult for you to make a decision. If you feel that lack of clarity with the thought process, obviously talk to a doctor on that as well. I feel like in this particular spread, it's probably stress that's just kind of scrambling the mental frequencies, but do pay attention to that. Okay, we're going to move on. That was health. Now we're going to take a look at wealth. We have Orion coming through. When I woke up this morning, I saw Orion's belt on the horizon. And interestingly enough, I dreamed about it 2 nights ago, so I want to drill into this a little bit. It's a very special card for you, Aquarius. All right, wealth, of course, is your resources, life, purpose, and career. We just talked about the Orion card. It's reversed, but we need to read it in the upright position. It says manifestation vortex. There's a bunch of words here, but focus is the key one. It says focus your energy with unwavering faith to manifest your outcome. The outcome you require. But all you really need to do is say, focus your energy and have faith. That's it. Focus and faith will help you manifest. Easier said than done because you had a couple of cards here with the Five of Pentacles in particular, where you start to wonder, am I worth it? Can I do it? Yes, you can do it. When I was almost getting misty and tearing up, you've always had the key. You've always had the potential. You weren't told so before, but now you can do it. Something about threes in December is really interesting. I've been noticing triple symbols. So there could be 2 or 3 opportunities presenting themselves, and you might be asked to juggle. And rather than accepting just one or feeling like you have to scrape and get by, the universe is saying, enough with that. We're done with that. We're going to give you more. Can you handle this? And the answer is hopefully, yes, I can handle this. All right. By the way, the stars in Orion's belt are really, really bright. When I woke up this morning, I actually got out the star app because I could see really bright stars on the horizon. I'm like, what are those? So I dreamed about them the night before, and then I saw them this morning. So anyway, Orion's belt, those bright lights, 3 stars coming through. Maybe there's 2 or 3 opportunities that are presenting themselves to you. Let's break it down. We're going to take a look at those that have a job, including those who own their own business. Then we'll look at those that are seeking employment, and then we'll wrap up with students and retirees. All right, let's begin with those of you that basically have a job and are paid by someone else. Whether it's full-time or part-time, doesn't matter. Let's just see what the challenges and opportunities are. All right. As I said earlier, some of you are just getting underpaid because Five of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles represent an imbalance when it comes to work product and then what you're receiving. So this is a perfect time to have a conversation with your boss about future goals. One thing that you want to be mindful of, Five of Swords doesn't usually keep their word. Five and Seven of Swords are like almost like sibling cards. So this is someone who doesn't listen or just isn't ready to process what you're giving them. The Seven of Swords is someone who just isn't going to do it. Either way, we want to make sure you get it in writing. And it may be better to find a different person to talk to about this because someone may be very nice and friendly sounding, but they're not following through. So if you have a current job and you're kind of struggling with this, the problem is maybe your manager just isn't asking. You can get it. This is the weird thing. I worked at companies where people were afraid to ask, and then later when a boss found out that someone left because they weren't paid, they were like, why didn't you just, we could have done that. So sometimes there's a fear factor with management. They're trying to save money, but it's in the wrong places. So sometimes you have to find another advocate. So if not them, then there might be someone else in personnel that you can talk to. But this can also be a wake-up call. If it is something that is chronic or habitual, you can do better. And it's a time to look around since we have an ace in the environment. I wouldn't always say that, but with the ace in the environment, prime time for that. What are you doing well right now? A lot, actually. Your teamwork and your ability to just work well with others, it's a shining star in this whole spread. You have great communication skills and great creativity, and people like you. But there's a lot to dislike about some of the structures in the place that you're working. Leadership. There's not great leadership, it looks like, or there's not great support to go to. So maybe there is no HR or personnel department, and it kind of leaves you out in the cold or feeling like you're out in the cold. Again, it's a month to look around if you can. And if you want to stay, ask questions and get things in writing. Put it in the plan so that you have something to, like in black and white, that you can refer to in a year's time or 6 months' time and say, I've done what you said. Now show me the money. In better words, show me the way to get this done. Okay? Do you like the experience? Do you like what you're doing? There's no wrong answer here. Sometimes we live to work, sometimes we work to live. If you're just working in order to have other experiences in your life, perfect, but make sure that you're planning those, whether it's travel or education or other things that bring joy. Make sure that that's happening. If, however, you live to work and you're not feeling fun about that and not feeling fulfilled about where you're working, it's time to remedy that, okay? In this case, it really does look like you might be going more the path of the entrepreneur, which is a nice segue to the next portion here. We're gonna look at entrepreneurs next. I love that entrepreneurs got the Emperor card. This tells you that you're exactly where you need to be as far as your sort of life and career trajectory. Now, there are a couple of challenges here, the Four and the Five of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles doesn't always mean like a poor financial quarter. It can sometimes mean a fear of reinvesting in your business. And one of the keys to growth is often updating equipment. So in the case of retail, making sure that you have the latest ways to collect money. So it could be like Apple Pay and Google Pay and all these other sort of contactless things. And also making sure that if you're in production, that your computer, your equipment, things of that nature have been upgraded. And you always want to put a little bit more back into the business so that you're staying relevant and staying competitive. If you have had a challenging quarter with the Four and the Five of Pentacles, we do see it inching up into a better space over the course of this month. You can lean on marketing and good word of mouth because this is happy customers. And I think it's important to try to get some good reviews or encourage people to leave reviews and also clarify. I think the one thing, the big opportunity this month for you in business is to be clearer in your product offering. The Seven of Cups can be too many things. When a consumer comes to your website or to your store or talks to someone on the phone, if there's too many decisions to make, it's not the right path. If we think back when Steve Jobs took over Apple, One of the things he did was made sure that there was only like 3 options. And like it was always good, better, best. And there was only like maybe 3 or 4 products. He really streamlined it. So there weren't too many decisions to make. They need to go back to that because there's too many options now. So sometimes less is more. Do what you can and do it really, really well rather than overextending yourself. So that's what I'm getting with that. Can you come through any sort of challenges? Yes. But I do think streamlining is definitely the main takeaway here. Also, as we're looking at promises that you are putting out there when it comes to what a product can do, like make sure that there's no deception in marketing and that you're listening to customer feedback and you're not sort of over-promising and under-delivering. This is more about listening to complaints and using them to grow. So it would actually be really advantageous to send out a questionnaire, ask for frank feedback, and use that. And that can help you figure out where the pressure points are. Okay? Moving on to job seekers. It's a challenging month for job seeking, but there is this sort of glittering gem here in the environment, the Ace of Pentacles. Remember not to accept something that doesn't pay enough. Pay very close attention to the environment, the morale, the culture, and focus on a place where you have more autonomy and ability to be creative. Creative energy, communication energy coming through. If you can't speak up, if you can't share your opinions, it's worth continuing to look. The timeline is interesting. This is probably close to the end of the year. This could literally be New Year's or after New Year's. So it's worth putting all the energy in it, but because of holidays, it could be just a little after the month of December. But I do get a yes. This is a great time to look. And if you meet a door that is closed, it's meant to be closed. If it's easy, that's the one that you should be focusing on. Don't force the connection. That's one of my famous sayings on this channel, but it's really important. Go where the energy is. Okay, if you are a student in this moment in time, there's just a lot. It's a lot of emotions coming through. I do like the Emperor card that shows me good teaching, good education. I like the student life component of the Ten of Cups. What's difficult here is you're beating yourself up, perhaps test score or a decision recently. There may be this feeling also of, I don't have enough time and energy to get all of this done. I do see success, though. I think the challenge and the opportunity here is when it comes to education, it's more about the experience and how much you can retain rather than a perfect score. Yes, you want to get a passing score. You want to get the best that you can. But years and years later, perfection is less important than how you can apply your skills. So what you should also be focusing on would include things like extracurricular activities, internships, and creating a portfolio that can help you down the line, especially if you're in a creative track. But it's the experience. It's the experience that matters, and it's what you retain from that years and years later. And it's amazing how some of the teachings are still with me. I can remember being in a class and hearing certain things, and I never forgot that. And that was more valuable than the grade that I got on the exam that quarter. So you may be getting more out of this than you think. Okay? Don't put so much pressure or value on scores. They help, they open doors, but they don't help you kind of like do the task after you've gone through the door. It's what you can remember and how you can put it to practice. Let me see if there's anything else to focus on. Don't get sick. Some of you are just a little too busy. Really take care of yourself. Eat well, sleep well, go to the doctor if you need to, because you're fine. I feel like, again, you're accomplishing what you need to here. There could be a relationship breakup going on or a friend that you're kind of falling out with, but that's a natural clearing, and it feels to me like it was a long time coming. Someone tried to be someone that they weren't, and you're seeing the true colors. We'll talk more about that in relationships. All right, for those that are retired, a lot of focus on finances and financial stability. I think it's okay, but let's not take it away from enjoying life and experiencing things. Yes, have a budget. Yes, stick to the budget. But there's a lot of things that you can do with friends. There's a lot of things that you can do in everyday life that can be fulfilling, that don't require a lot. So it's finding value in everyday experiences here. Taking the financial piece out, this is a time to really spend more time with friends and family, and possibly even developing more core friendships in your life right now. Socialize. This is a great time for networking. All right, moving onward, let's take a look at love and relationships. This is such a powerful card to come through with respect to love and relationships. Death is one of the most misunderstood cards in tarot, but it can mean past life. Like, many of you may have had several lifetimes of karma that you're dealing with, and you're pulling in what we would call a soulmate, but there is karma. The karma in this lifetime, it really has to do with communicating and using your voice, and also understanding your worth in particular. The death card in reverse can also be stagnation in relationships, because normally this is like change, movement, and growth. So a reversed death card is something that's lacking that. And so we really want to move towards the energy of growth and expansion this month. So we'll take a look at all of this. One last thing is you might have lost someone or just gotten out of a relationship. So it can be change. It can literally mean death or loss. It can also mean transformation and movement. I'll periodically go back to that as needed, but let's go ahead and break this down. We're going to look at those in a relationship first, then we'll go to those that are single and looking, and then single and happy. If you're presently in a relationship, major change could be underway. The change is multifaceted. Some of you might have just gotten a new job opportunity, or there could be a birth of a child, because we have the ace here. We can also read this at face value. It says death. So for some of you, you could be dealing with a death. It doesn't necessarily have to be the partner. It could be in the family, because this is off to the side. We see the person looking out there. I still see partnership here. So when a loss comes our way, it's kind of like what we talked about earlier. You may take a different amount of time than your partner to make peace with that. The cool thing in this particular spread is we do see the ability to have a decent sort of like network of friends or family to lean on. Challenges in the relationship. You could also be stuck in a sort of rut where it's the same old, same old. So this is a chance to mix things up, to be a little bit more spontaneous and have a little more fun. Possibly even plan a trip or some sort of date night, something of that nature. Finances and health are the two big stressors that I see this month, because that's really what these two pentacle cards can represent. Together, you can navigate this. We do see one person who's very used to getting their way, and that could be the challenge here, is finding the middle ground. Ask questions. Look at it from different angles. The Seven of Cups is actually helpful here. It's a card of consideration, and at least, giving the person a chance to state their side of the story, and also making sure that they're holding space to listen to you before making a decision or making an assumption. Better communication, a little bit more time together, more honesty when it comes to things around money, and also just taking care of each other. I think you can navigate this. These are not unmanageable cards. The only thing that I don't love is this, and we're going to go back to the Light Seer's version of it, this Five of Swords. So when somebody automatically is thinking of the next argument point before actually listening to your point of view, it gets very frustrating. Or if they interrupt you or are constantly nitpicking, we need to find more constructive forms of communication. Take a step back if that's going on, because it only results in what we see here. There has to be more open communication and kind communication. All right. Otherwise, it looks like there's a good opportunity coming through, and it could require some significant change or movement with the two of you. So if somebody's getting a job, it might require a move. Or if finances aren't where you want it, it might require like downsizing. But again, I see a path where the two of you have an option. He's presenting it, she gets to choose. This is an ace, but you are both part of this ace, because that's what partnership is, right? So you're deciding how, when, or if to navigate the path in front of you. When it comes to communication styles, the Queen of Swords talks a lot. The Queen of Cups waits for her moment, but doesn't always get a chance. So I do see a quieter partner, and I do see a bossier partner. And so this is about trying to find a way to communicate in the middle. All right, moving on to those that are looking for love. Be mindful of the Knight of Cups who is not what they appear to be. So there could be a water sign in your periphery that seems really compelling, but they're not who you thought. And it could either be in the friends that they keep or something that they say that just hurts your feelings. They're going to reveal true character there. Take it for what it is. In the deep past, some of you may be having a chance to reconcile with somebody. I think it's also important here to make sure that if there's any wounds from that past relationship, that it's been healed. We also have someone that you might have just have met, and this feels like it's a slightly better match. The deep past in this case should stay in the deep past. The person that you just met seems like there is a potential for that to go deeper. There is someone that's about to come through where, again, questionable communication practices. Overall, I have a big question for you, which is, are you at a place where you're ready to receive? Because it feels like there's a couple of areas for improvement first, and maybe you can work on it in retrograde, and then at the end of the month, focus more on dating. Four of Pentacles is just making sure that when it comes to activities and people in your life, that you're not overextending. Five of Pentacles can be health, well-being, and self-confidence. These things can help you once you feel like you have more than enough and that you believe in yourself, that you're not going to accept something that isn't on the level. We have an old soul coming through here in the Emperor card too. And in this case, it should just feel right. Like you're both strong individuals, and there's this sense of wisdom and again, this soul recognition. The Death card means that you'll just feel like you've known each other forever. This is interesting because it can also represent the feeling of being deserted. Let me see if I still have the other card here. I think it's shuffled back in, but Five of Pentacles, we'll go with this one over here because I like it better. It can feel like someone shut you out in a previous lifetime. They rejected you or they weren't ready, and then that hurts. So in this lifetime, being wise enough to not chase after someone, knowing that you're worth what you're worth the fight. This time around, it's almost like they should come to you. You shouldn't have to work as hard. So that's what I'm getting karmically here is don't chase after someone that's not interested. Let them come to you. All right. If you're single and happy, I actually feel like it's an optimal time to be single and happy. In this period, there may be something that really is drawing your attention to it in the form of the Ace of Pentacles, new job, new idea, passion project. I also feel like you're not going to be alone. We have a lot of people in this particular spread, but really focus on the quality, not the quantity of the people in your life. That's potentially the most important piece here. You may also go into a teacher or mentorship role. All right, let's take a look at destiny. Hello, success. We'll accept that. In tarot, success would be the Six of Wands. Interestingly enough, it couples nicely with Three of Wands energy. And Three of Wands, as illustrated here, was very active. And I'm going to pull Light Seers as well because I have the deck near me. I like this one because she's ready to meet opportunity rather than the previous one where he was standing up there and kind of like expecting things to come to him. This card is basically a culmination of everything we've been talking about. You have great communication skills. You have great empathy. There is some challenges here with the 5 cards, 5 of Cups, 5 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles. So if you can get over whatever the sort of challenge or loss is in the moment and look at the silver lining, if you can move beyond someone who appears to be something that they're not and let that go, and if you can focus on your own worth, this is going to bring you into your power. This is going to set you up for success. This is going to help you see the opportunity that's on the shore already. And then you won't have to waste any time sort of spinning around in some of these old cyclical karmic patterns. This is a chance for you really to see a dream come true. All right, let's go a little bit deeper and look at sun, rising, and moon sign messages. Sun, rising, and moon. All right. These are all reversed. It makes sense since we're in a retrograde, so I'll talk about why it's reversed and how you can bring it in the upright position. All right, 3 of Cups. this is actually a very good card. Typically, this is when new people are coming into your life, where you might also be wanting to explore everything that the world has to offer. I kind of view this as the buffet card. But some of you are tired. You're tired of all of these options. If you've been dating and you're looking for someone that is ready to commit, you're like, I just want the one. If you've been freelancing for a company and you really just want a full-time job, it really boils down to commitment. So it feels like you're ready for it. I would like to remind you here, though, that you want to make sure that the other person feels the same. Don't push someone who doesn't have that same level of conviction, commitment, and clarity. This is also, we're entering into holiday season, a reminder not to go into excess. So not overworking, not over drinking, not overeating, not doing anything to the point of excess. Everything in moderation. Patience is key. Don't force someone to make a decision if they're not ready. And if they don't want to do it, so be it. This is about options. Allow the right choice and the right person to come to you, okay? But there could be new love, new friendship, and new engagements coming your way. They're just not necessarily long-term. They need to also feel you out to see if you're the right match energetically. Let's move on to rising sign messages. I actually want to keep the devil in the reverse state. This is an optimal card to be reversed because in reverse, you see through it. It could be someone that is trying to get the most out of you without actually compensating you justly. It could be someone that you meet that you like, but they can't give you what you want. The devil is not, it's not a winning bet, basically. The devil always gets more out of the equation than you can. So walk away from that. Say no. Also, integrity, honesty, and clarity are tools that thwart the energy of the devil. So be the one that leads with all of those kinds of energies and don't accept less. And if the contract isn't good, don't sign the contract. And if somebody shows their true colors, recognize it and release them. You can do better. Okay? Moving onward. Oh, by the way, one last thing. This can just be limiting thoughts. So this ties in very nicely to the Five of Pentacles, which can be this feeling that I can't do it. And also the Five of Swords. You're not worthy and you can't do it. I'm here to say it's the opposite. You have the key. You just have to turn that key and believe in yourself. And the sooner you do that, the sooner things start to get really exciting. Okay, moving on to moon sign. We have the star. I feel like we've been building up to this. This is the ultimate card for Aquarius. The card was reversed. Be yourself, unapologetically. Be authentic. Don't mute your light. Don't mute your voice. The things that make you singular, unique, and unusual are the things that make you stand out in the best possible way, and they bring you success. Be the change, be the tide that kind of like breaks through things. And also, stars are meant to shine. They're meant to be something that people have to recategorize. So I love the fact that this is saying, it's okay to be a misfit. It's okay not to fit in. Capitalize on it. Own it. And that's when things also really start to get exciting for you. I'm sure you have at least one more question. The good news is I always have a final card. So go ahead and turn your attention to that final question. I'm giving the cards a shuffle, and we'll see what Spirit has to say. We have a very clear message here coming through with the Knight of Swords in reverse. Slow down. This is a not yet. So if you asked a yes or no, not yet. Usually the Knight of Swords encourages you to review details. Because we are in a Mercury retrograde at the beginning of the month, look at the contract if you're signing one. If you've talked to someone about something, go back a second time and make sure that you heard everything correctly. If you're about ready to begin something or you just finished it, look at the instructions and make sure that there wasn't something that got skipped. And in general, this is about slowing down long enough to make sure that you're happy with the path that you're traveling. Sometimes we just keep going because it's the path we've always been on. And a Knight of Swords knows to pump the brake and basically just assess everything. Speaking of breaks, this is also about making sure that you're taking care of yourself, taking care of your car, taking care of your house. So doing any sort of maintenance that you might need to do. Don't rush. Take your time. Focus on quality. Focus on detail. And the time and the quantity don't matter as much. It's more quality and detail. Speak up and say what you need to say. Don't over-communicate. Don't delay. Less is more. And that's everything for this. All right. Thank you so much, Aquarius. It was my honor, my privilege to be able to relay all of the messages coming through from Spirit. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you can show some of that love and support through liking, subscribing, and commenting. Let me know what it is that you're working on and how this reading helps you out. I do appreciate it. You can also follow me on social media so you never miss out on a future reading. That way, if you're away from your phone or computer, but you get notifications, you'll be able to click it and stay in the loop. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh, by the way, on all major platforms. And then Blue Sky is my website address, nicholasashbaugh.com. And that is also where you can get more information about me. So thank you so much. You can give back also through Super Stickers, Super Chat, and memberships. A quick reminder, I don't give private readings, nor do I use direct messages, so block and report anyone that does. And I just want to say thank you. I think Apollo's behind me. He is. He's sleeping. So let's give him a little pat on the head, and then we'll wrap up for today. Hey, buddy. Thanks for being the best. Yes. I know. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Yes. Good boy. All right. Thank you again for spending the better part of this hour with me tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. I did 2 special videos this past month in case you missed it. One is Pluto in Aquarius, which I think is very relevant for you. And I just posted one today for both the new moon, the date on which this is posted, and then also the retrograde. And that's going to take place over part of the next month. So this is going to be very useful. I hope you enjoyed those as well. Until I see you again, take special care. Much love and light.